What up, motherfucks? It's your boy, the hater, up in this bitch. And today we're going to talk about a few things that happened this Wednesday night. We could call this our Wednesday Night Wars review. But as you all know, motherfucks, the Wednesday Night Wars will be no more after WrestleMania because NXT is moving, that's right, cucks, to, what's it called? Tuesday nights, right? Tuesday nights. So, that's what I have to say about that. I mean, a lot of people think that this is like because AEW defeated NXT, which even if they did, I don't think it's like this impressive thing to brag about. You know what I mean? It's like when WWE defeated ECW. You know what I mean? It was like clearly the war was WWE versus WCW. WWE being like, oh, ECW is gone. Who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like ECW had like 50 fans, you know? And, you know, quite honestly, it was a little bit overrated. I mean, it was cool for what it was, don't get me wrong. But in terms of storylines, it just wasn't there, you know? Everyone was like the same character, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, Wednesday night review, motherfuckers. Let's start with NXT. I mean, I don't know. I think just like last week, I would say that this NXT was very similar to the one last week in the sense that it did what it was supposed to do. You know? It didn't like really do much, but it did what it was meant to do. It furthered the storylines going to NXT Stand and Deliver, which apparently will also be showing on TV. Like, I don't understand, you know? It is what it is. Fuck it, right? Among some of the things that happened was Roderick Strong versus Cameron Grimes, right? This was cool only because Cameron Grimes won. You know, if Cameron Grimes didn't win this match, it would be one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So basically, the whole story of the match was Cameron Grimes was just talking to Roderick Strong one day, and Roderick Strong decided to attack him for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a fan of using physical violence when people say things, you know? I don't care what people say. Even if they say something like super fucked up, like I want to kill your kids, like, you know what I'm saying? It's never cool to resort to violence. Now, you know, I speak from experience, you know, like I've been in a few fights myself, motherfucks, you know? And now that I've grown a little older, I realize that anyone that does that is either a child or a savage or both. You know what I'm saying? If you let someone's words affect you that much, there's an inferiority complex in there. Something's wrong with you, motherfuckers. Something is an issue with you. Because if you have confidence, you wouldn't feel that way, right? It's just like those guys that are like black belts in kung fu or jujitsu or judo or something, right? And you ask them, you're like, hey, have you ever been in a fight? And they're like, no, because they never push the fight agenda, right? They know they can kick the shit out of the guy that's pissing them off. So they're like, whatever, man. Like, I don't have to prove anything, you know? It's kind of the same thing. So as a result, I believe that Roderick Strong comes off as the heel here, you know? For some reason, that's not the intended consequence. Because in wrestling, it's okay to attack each other for no reason. Just like Drew McIntyre was attacking people, you know? These things are things that heels should do, right? Drew McIntyre and Roderick Strong cannot act like Ryback when he was a bully and be faces. It makes no sense, you know? Like, bully characters are awesome, don't get me wrong, but they have to be heels, right? Cameron Grimes won, and the way he won was stupid. He had like one of those stupid-ass Undisputed Era armbands that he kept in his underwear, right? He threw it out, right? Or he was going to hit Roderick Strong with it, like kind of like use it to punch him with for some reason, right? But then he dropped it because Roderick Strong attacked him. Roderick Strong found it. He was like, oh my God, like my past is right before me. He turns around. Cameron Grimes hits the cave-in and wins. Good. Cameron Grimes deserves a push. I've been saying it for a long time. Santos Escobar versus Tyler Breeze. I mean, I don't know what to say about this. Obviously, Tyler Breeze was going to lose this match. But the facts are what the facts are. Why is this even happening, right? And furthermore, when did Jordan Devlin, like, supersede Tyler Breeze on the card? You know what I mean? Like, Jordan Devlin was a jobber in the UK, and then he became champion. He didn't defend it for like a year and a half. So I don't know what the hell's going on. But let me tell you this, motherfucks. Let me tell you this. This is kind of important. You know? Like, when they were talking about Tyler Breeze and they were trying to pretend that he was a big deal, you know, all the compliments they paid Tyler Breeze are actually insults, you know? Like, Beth Phoenix was like, Tyler Breeze has been a mainstay here in NXT. That's not a compliment. That means you were not good enough, kid. And then they were like, oh, he was NXT Tag Team Champion. You know what I mean? Like, that's like literally his career highlight. The only thing he's ever done in the last 10 years of being in WWE is become an NXT champion. Like a tag team champion for that matter, right? There was a point where this guy was wrestling Jushin Liger, losing to him, but at least wrestling Jushin Liger, you know what I mean? Like, which was presented as a big deal. It's really, really a shame to see what's happened to Tyler Breeze. I'm not saying he deserves better because there's nothing special about him. I mean, His entrance music is fun because like the lyrics are fun. They're all about him, and he sings it himself. But like as soon as he debuted, as soon as I first saw him, I knew this guy was going to be a jobber because he has that jobber gimmick. You know, he has the Shawn Michaels wannabe gimmick, but he doesn't have the personality or charisma of Shawn Michaels. And quite frankly, I mean, he's definitely not an ugly guy. That would be like obviously disingenuous. But he's not this like supermodel good looks guy either. You know what I mean? He's not like he's all right looking. You know, like he's good looking enough to be a wrestler, but he's not this like holy shit. Look at this guy. You know, he's not right. So like pick a better person for the gimmick is what I'm saying, right? I didn't like the match, and I didn't care about the match. You know what I'm saying? Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell beat Gigi Dolan and some broad named Zeta, right? I mean, it is what it is. No one cares. This is just there to set up the match between them and Blackheart, Shotzi Blackheart, and Ember Moon. Afterwards, Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart came out, and it really, really reminded me why there might be the two worst wrestlers in the world right now. Like, I'm not even joking. I really believe Ember Moon is the worst wrestler in the world. Like, I mean, in the ring, she's okay, but she has absolutely zero personality. This girl will never make it as a star because she has no personality. She's athletic and has a cool finisher. Shotzi Blackheart, she has some personality, but her personality is generic and boring. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, there's two broads that are just weird. Like, their whole gimmick is like, oh, look at us, we're weird. You know what I mean? And then, like, when they come out, Shotzi Blackheart especially has that stupid-ass thing she does where she's like, oh, or whatever, right? Or maybe it's Ember Moon, I don't know. It's not funny. It's not cool. It's not even cringy. It's just stupid, you know what I mean? It's just a broad, like, howling like a wolf for some reason. Like, I don't know why. She's not cool. She sucks. Both of them need to stay exactly where they're at, and that's in the NXT women's division. Wrestling people like Zeta and Gigi Dolan. You know what I mean? So there you have it, cucks. Next up, speaking of jobbers, we have Zoe Stark versus Raquel Gonzalez. For some reason, they're really hot on this Zoe Stark girl. I don't know what she had to do to get this hype, but basically she got jobbed out to Raquel Gonzalez, obviously. But I don't know why. Like, Zoe Stark is being presented as this like established wrestler. Like, she won her first match and then she lost, but then afterwards they're like, oh, she's good. You know what I mean? So who gives a shit about that? Then we had what do we have? What else do we have? I think that was it, wasn't it? There was like a little recap of the feud between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. Like, nobody cares about this. This is like honestly one of the most uneventful, like, like factions over feuds, right? You know, when a faction ends, something always happens, right? But it didn't happen, right? Like, it's just going to be a regular match, and that's going to be it. Kyle O'Reilly's going to win, and they're going to pretend that this establishes him as something, right? Then we have Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter versus Tian Sha, which is, of course, Xia Li and the other broad who's dressed like a ghost, right? The other broad doesn't do anything, really. You know what I mean? I don't even know what the other broad's name is, to be honest. But whatever. Basically, what happens is eventually, what's her face? Casey Catanzaro goes up and, or maybe it's Kaden Carter. I don't even know. I wasn't really paying attention, right? But basically, one of them goes there, and the woman in the throne grabs her and blows smoke in her face, whatever, some shit. Xia Li beats up the other one, and there you go. I mean, it's very weird, but like, Xia Li is not getting anything out of this, honestly. So I don't really know what the point is. Like, with Xia Li, they've given her this heel turn. They've put a stable behind her, but it's clearly not the answer. You know what I mean? Like, nothing has come from this. You see what I'm saying, motherfuckers? Nothing has come from this. She's still fighting Kaden Carter, who, like, last week was just a jobber. Now she's out here actually having competitive matches. Then we have the Battle Royal thing. Battle Royal thing was different. It was interesting. There weren't that many guys in the ring. It wasn't like a 30 or 50-man Battle Royal. So basically what happens is they get eliminated in a certain order, and like, the last 6 people that are alive in the Battle Royal qualify, which is kind of cheap because it's like you don't have to win the match to get a spot on, like, the main card of the year, basically, right? You don't have to win. So the people that qualified were Cameron Grimes, which is a good qualification, Bronson Reed, right, which you need because LA Knight also qualified, what's his face? Leon Ruff, Isaiah Swerve Scott, and of course the person who's going to win this match, Dexter Lumis. Obviously, Dexter Lumis is going to win, and Dexter Lumis should beat Johnny Gargano. It's the only thing that makes sense. However, this is not set in stone. And the reason why it's not set in stone is because they're not really pushing the Gargano-Lumis feud. Instead, they're putting Johnny Gargano in a match, and they're basically saying, like, oh, there's no, like, rhyme or reason behind this match. You know what I mean? There's no, like, actual thing going on here. It's just whoever wins this match is gonna wrestle Johnny Gargano. So it kind of felt cheap like that. LA Knight wins. I mean, who cares? You know, he lost to Bronson Reed. I would have rather had him beat Bronson Reed and then have Bronson Reed win this. You know, that would have saved his character a bit more. So this show, I have to say, was pretty good, just because it did what it was supposed to do. You know, nothing great happened. There was no like excellent wrestling. There was a few cool moments, but nothing special really. You know. So there you have it, Cucks. That's what happened with that sumbitch. Now, since we have some more time, let's quickly move on to AEW. AEW opens up strong. It opens up with the in-ring debut of Christian Cage versus Frankie Kazarian. They allude to the fact that Frankie Kazarian beat Christian Cage in a ladder match back in the day in TNA. I remember that match. I mean, I remember watching it because I knew Frankie Kazarian was going to beat Christian. I thought it was horseshit. I already knew back then Frankie Kazarian was never going to become this main event star. You know? And here we are, motherfucks. Christian Cage, of course, wins. Basically, what happens is Christian hits the frog splash. Kazarian kicks out. Kazarian goes for a chicken wing. Christian rolls out of it, like kind of like when he did like a back roll to pin Samoa Joe in the Coquina Clutch back in the day. And he steps out of the way, and Roderick Strong, not Roderick Strong, what the hell's his name? Frankie Kazarian, same shit basically, runs towards him. Christian throws him into the corner. He's dazed. He hits the unprettier, and Kazarian sells it like he got hit by a cannon, which was cool. So, first of all, the fact is what the fact is. Christian looked amazing, right? First of all, he looks great in terms of like his shape, right? A lot of people seem to think that being 47 means like it's over, like you can't go anymore. Obviously, that's not the case. Sting had like a career revitalization in TNA when he was 47. He was still putting on good matches, you know? He hadn't missed a beat, really. Like, especially if you're a wrestler like Sting or Christian Cage, where your moveset is grounded and it's not like this ridiculous moveset of like doing like super power moves or like super flippy moves. I think it's very, very possible for someone to like continue well into their 50s, honestly, you know? A lot of people are like, oh, PCO is 53. I can't believe he can still do it. 53 is not that old, motherfucks. 53 only feels old because your grandpa, when he was 53 and you were like 2 years old, was acting like an old man. Like, I remember my own grandpa, motherfucks, and this was in a third world country. My grandpa was a very handsy, tough guy, right? He would like go work in a garage, like cut trees, build things with his hands after he was retired. You know, like, he would just do that because that's what he wanted to do. But then when he would hang out with his old man friends, they were probably like in their early to mid 60s at this point, right? He would hang out with his old ass friends, you know, and they would like act like old men. They'd be like, oh, like I'm in pain, but like afterwards he'd go to the garage and just, you know, bust ass, like work hard, right? It was very weird. I always found that strange because I really think it was like, you know, eventually you just start acting old, but if you don't, you're good. And of course, 68, whatever, 65, maybe a little bit earlier, my grandpa's age, is completely different from 47. 47, you could arguably still be in your prime. Like, you're not in your prime in terms of like your ability to heal and things like that, but like in terms of strength, you can still fight like at 47. Like a 47-year-old is not going to get his ass kicked. Like Christian Cage is not going to get his ass kicked by an average 25-year-old. You know what I mean? Obviously. So Christian Cage is still believable. He's still great. I mean, he did really well. Look at this. The article I'm reading to remind myself what the hell's going on. It says, it may be a bit too soon to assume he can continue at this rate or that he can just be thrown into a world title match with Kenny Omega and not miss a beat. What the fuck are you talking about? Christian Cage is better than Kenny Omega. Christian Cage, like, today is better than Kenny Omega will ever be. Christian Cage yesterday is better than John Moxley will ever be. Christian Cage is the best wrestler they have in this company by far, motherfucks. Like, no one's nearly that good, you know? So, go fuck yourselves. How about that? QT Marshall versus Cody Rhodes. I'm going to talk about this in the next video in more detail, but I just want to say this. I like this a lot, right? Long story short, the match ends when I believe QT Marshall hits Arn Anderson, and what's it called? Then like a bunch of people help him beat up Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes. I will talk about this in a video that I'm going to do about stables, motherfucks. So Keep that in mind. John Moxley versus Cesar Bononi. Cesar Bononi has potential because he's a big, strong guy, and he's from Brazil, which means you can stick him with a gimmick. There you have it. I mean, like, it was what it was. John Moxley won. It didn't make the guy look very weak, you know? It didn't make Bononi look very weak, but, like, it's really stupid, you know? Then MJF gives a gift to the Pinnacle, motherfucks. It looks like there's a new person. It's the interior decorator, you know? But it doesn't matter. Either this guy's going to be a character or not. Who cares? Jericho and the Inner Circle attack the Pinnacle, and that's it. I mean, I don't know. I thought this was really stupid. Like, they really presented Jericho and the Inner Circle as, like, being out for revenge. But, like, next week they're going to talk about it. You know? They should talk about it first. Jericho is all about the talking about it. So, I don't know. It is what it is. Then we had Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid versus Cucky Omega and the Good Cucks. I mean, this match has pre-show written all over it. I don't care about this at all. The match, of course, was decent because the people involved are good athletes, right? Except for, like, maybe the Good Brothers, they're okay. But, like, the luchador side of this, they're all good athletes. Kenny Omega is obviously a good athlete, so it wasn't bad. Cucky Omega wins. He hits the, what's it called? One-Winged Angel on Laredo Kid, I believe it was, and he wins. So it was what it was. Tai Conchi, also from Brazil, and Hikaru Shida from Japan, versus Nyla Rose and Ali. The match ends when Ali, hits her move, the Eye of the Hurricane, also known as the Final Cut, which is also called Down the Rabbit Hole now, on Tainara Conchi after she hit her with a kendo stick. It was what it was. No one really cares. The only thing that was good about this was the fact that, like, this promotes the Matt Hardy stable, the Matt Hardy brand, right? That's the only thing I like about this. Otherwise, I couldn't give a shit about Ali or anyone else involved in this match. Then we had the Arcade Anarchy, right? This was a predictable piece of shit. The entire match was a waste of time. The arcades were not real arcades because obviously no one's going to waste like $20,000 to buy all these real arcade machines. They bought like a wood cabinet, put like a sign on it that said tokens, right? It clearly was like a printed piece of paper. It was embarrassing. And when Miro, or Rusev I should say, threw one of the arcades at fucking Trent, who came back, like, you could see under the arcade there was nothing there. So it was really cheap. It was really stupid. And I don't really care that it was cheap and stupid because this shouldn't be like a match. This is stupid. Why is this a match? Because they like video games? You know, this is embarrassing. Miro easily, in my opinion, has had the worst year of his career. I don't know how long it's been since he's been here, if it's been a full year. I don't think it's been a full year yet. But he has had by far the worst year of his career in AEW. So all that horseshit that he came out, he's like, I'm finally free to be myself. Yeah, being yourself leads you to literally the worst year of your career. The worst year ever. Everyone involved in the creation of Rusev is better creatively than Miro is himself. Miro is not creative. Miro is a nerd. He's on the same level as Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. He's a little bit cooler because he comes from Eastern Europe. And in my opinion, one of the more entertaining parts of Eastern Europe, Bulgaria. Shout out to Bulgaria up in this bitch. You know? But, like, that's about it, motherfuckers. That's about it. Like, beyond that, he's not entertaining. Like, he's not fun. He's not a cool guy. That's why he hangs out with people like Xavier Woods and fucking, what's his face? Cocky Kingston and these jabrones. Like, nobody cares about these losers. So this match was not fun up until Trent came back. Obviously, we knew Trent was going to probably come back, right? Especially when they were crawling towards the thing. He came in his mom's van, and the booking of the match was good because it was presented as if all three of the best friends, or I suppose the best friends and Orange Cassidy, were required to eventually get rid of Rusev, right? Rusev was just like kicking their ass until they all kind of triple teamed them, and they got rid of him. You know what I mean? Chris Statlander also appeared, and that was kind of nice. Only because, like, in the end, like, the entire payoff of this match wasn't like, you know, what's his face getting pinned. Okay, Kip Sabian getting pinned. You know, that wasn't important at all. The important part was Trent is back and they hug it out, right? And Chuck Taylor doesn't have to be a slave. That's it. So in that sense, it did a good job. The best friends are cool. I like the best friends. Not Orange Cassidy, but I like the concept of the best friends. I think the best friends actually are a good tag team because they have a good gimmick. The gimmick of the best friends is like almost like a parody of every other tag team where they're always best friends. You know what I mean? Just like Cody Rhodes is best friends with QT Marshall one week. Next week he's best friends with Nick Jackson, you know? Like, that's the humor of best friends. Like, their entire premise is they're just two best friends. You know what I mean? Like, nothing more, nothing less. They're two best friends that like to hang out. So I thought that was kind of nice. The show wasn't good. This match gets an A+ rating, but I didn't really like it. I thought a lot of it was really stupid, just because of like the spots that they did were like just silly, right? Like, there was a great spot when Chris Statlander perfectly executes her move on Penelope Ford through a hockey table. But I'm like, this should have just been a table, you know? It was an air hockey table, but whatever. It is what it is. That being said, I would give this a slight edge to NXT this week, but it ain't anything special, motherfucks. It ain't anything special. Peace out, bitch boys.